and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Tuesday, and that means only one thing, the toy news, right? Well, when Toy Fair's going on, that means the toy news, and we got Toy News Updates Part 3. We had our first video Saturday, second video Monday, third and final video here on Tuesday. Anything else that comes from Toy Fair, we'll talk about in Saturday's news cycle, Saturday's Toy News of the Week. But a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff going down at Toy Fair is the changing of the guard with a lot of properties. A lot of new stuff shown, a lot of stuff to talk about, and we got 2 pages of notes to dive into here with Sunday and a little bit of Monday's news going into this one here. But before we get too far into it, we got to thank the sponsor of the toy news. It is Jay'sToysAndGames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. As I said, Jay's is there right now at Toy Fair. Who knows, maybe next year I'll join that gang over there and head to Toy Fair. We'll see what happens. But a lot going on down there. And got to thank, of course, Jay's for supporting the channel, as we do know. And check out the Patreon. We got 2 giveaways this month. Jazwares Vault, Brody Lee, and, of course, the Street Fighter 2 Rock and Bison figure. Check out Patreon. Early access to videos, all the details, everything over there. But how about we get down to the news, huh? And speaking of Jazwares Vault, they're not dead yet, folks, as we did get 2 announcements from AEW Jazwares. And I've said this a lot on the channel. We've talked about it a lot in the toy news. A lot of people are like, Jazwares is dead. Jazwares is dead. No more AEW. They're getting the cart before the horse. It's definitely on life support. Be the first to admit that. But there's so many people out there in YouTube land, Facebook groups, etc. Just, it's over, it's dead, it's dead. Well, here's 2 more figures. We got Tanahashi about a month ago. There's another figure. I've heard there might be a couple of more ringside ones around the corner. And I truly believe, not knowing anything of the business practices, we talked about it weeks ago on the toy news, I am pretty sure that Jazwares would like to stay in the AEW business, but they're not going to do it at the cost that they have to pay for the license that they've had the last couple of years. It's just simple negotiations in business. Does Jazwares say, this line isn't worth what we think, we will give you this? Or maybe they say, we're not going to give you anything at all. Same token, AEW, hey, I think we're worth this, where we were this. Jazwares says, we can't do that, we can't break even. I am pretty sure there's a negotiation going on right now, and obviously nobody's going to be privy to that. You would not have negotiations out in the open. It doesn't work good for either side. So everybody's saying it's over, it's over. Who's to say come November they don't reach an agreement some way? Personally, I feel that AEW, once again, just me personally, I feel like AEW is saying, hey, we're worth this. Jazwares is like, here's our sales. You're not worth this. This is what we can offer. And Jazwares and AEW got to decide if that's going to work for either party. So right now it feels like they're in a stalemate in negotiations. Once again, this is just me putting my business hat on, who's been through multi-million-dollar business negotiations just like this. Maybe not toys, but something else, I don't know, similar, but packaged goods, consumer goods, whatever you want to call it. It's the dance that gets done. And sometimes I've been a part of negotiations that take 2 years. 2 years to come to a deal, and I've been to some other ones that take like 2 days. It just depends how willing the both parties are to come to a deal. So we'll see, and it could be one of those things where AEW just says, hey, we're just going to let the contract roll, and we're going to see if we can find somebody else. We're going to go to Playmates or Todd from the Couch or somewhere else, try to get it. There's a lot to go into it. So anyways, enough business hat talk about that. Just let's see where it rolls out. Hopefully it's best for everybody. We'll see what happens there. But we did get 2 announcements this week. Jazwares Vault's coming later, I guess, anytime between now and the rest of the year. How about that? But we did get Darby Allin and his flamethrower. That's a pretty cool one, I would say. That's off the beaten path of our normal wrestling stuff. And we also get Darby Allin's bright purple jacket there, the fuzzy purple jacket he wears all the time. So cool to get that on the Darby Allin figures here. You can use that with other Darby Allin figures. That was a coat that was on TV for like 6 months, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even longer. It's probably destroyed by now, but that is a pretty cool looking figure there. Getting the most out of your molds with Darby with some new accessories. A lot of fun. And then we get 2 of the youngest performers, of course, on the AEW roster. We got the Outrunners. Very excited to get those Outrunner figures. You got multiple heads for them here. Personally, I'm going to buy 2 or 3 sets of this one here. I want to display both looks, one shirt on, one shirt off, different hands, different heads, maybe even one in the package because it's such a bright, colorful packaging. Absolutely love the looks of that one there. So we got those 2 announced at Toy Fair. We know about Tanahashi with ringside. Wouldn't be shocked to see a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive of some kind here in July. I'm sure it'll be an easy repaint, something very simple, but I wouldn't be shocked to see something there. And then possibly a couple other ringside announcements, maybe that Prince Nana Swerve pack maybe later this year as well. But besides that, I don't know. It's all going to come down to the negotiations. But I thought that was very interesting to talk about here with Jazwares. How about a little bit more Mattel, as we saw a few more things on Monday from Mattel. We did see an upcoming Ultimate Wave. We got Jacob Fatu, not just for a ring anymore. You get a solo version with that cool mask. I'm here for that werewolf mask. Stone Cold Steve Austin, which maybe feels I don't think laziest is the right word, but the least anticipated out of these 3 because we had a really good one from the Walmart line that's still at many stores right now. But if you need this Austin, it'll be available as well with a different vest. So a lot of people like Austin, obviously a Mount Rushmore talent for a lot of people. And then the one I'm most excited about is Jake the Snake, the Roberts, no stranger. We just talked about it in Toy News yesterday, how Matt Maniacs is coming out with a crazy glossy eye for Jake the Snake. Well, here we go. Mattel was on the same page. One of these heads, because this Jake the Snake Roberts figure represents WrestleMania 7, we're going to get that glossy eye there. A very easy thing to do, but adds so much to that figure. I will be displaying him with that head. The bag over the head, it looks like the snake bag over the head. I wish they would have had a new bag for that one, but it is invoking the Jakks Classic Superstar series once upon a time, as we did get that 2-pack way back when. So cool to see this. Now we just need a Rick Martel to go with all this stuff. But very, very cool. I like the looks of that. And I'm a little surprised that Jake the Snake is not a Target Legends exclusive. It's a mainline exclusive. So be interested to see how well that one goes. But I was very interested to see that. We also saw Elite 126 here today in package images. You know what that means. They're right around the corner. I fully expect to have that sometime in March is the way it feels like if they're already packaged samples like that. But we did see Penta, which looks basically like the Defining Moments one re-released in a red color. Now in red, let's give Penta in all colors of the rainbow. I think a lot of people would be there for it. You put the different mouth on it and voila, you got a new figure. But we did see Penta. We saw Roxanne Perez returning to the Elite line. Javon Evans, first time in the line, a boy that's extra bouncy, as we know. He's coming to the line. We got Jimmy Uso looking like he's ready to officiate a wedding of some kind, like down in Hawaii. He looks like just laid back Jimmy Uso, trying to keep up with his brother in the figure department is what it seems like. We get Roman Reigns once again. I know some people are excited about that, but man, we've got so many Romans. It's almost ready to tap out, but you know we're not even close to it, especially with him coming to Mania. We're going to continue the Roman figures into 2027 and beyond. We know how that goes. We also saw first time in the line once again, El Grande Americano. This would be the Chad Gable version. So pretty cool. We're going to get different versions in the future. You know we're going to get the other one of Mr. Kaiser in the future, but this one will be the first version, which just returned to TV. So good timing on that. So I'm here for Elite 126, I should say. Feels like a very fun line there. Now we don't jump back over to AEW, the Big Rubber Guys, as we saw a lot of Big Rubber Guys, but we didn't talk about these yesterday, but we're going to talk about them here today. It's the AEW upcoming ones here. We saw Orange Cassidy for a future wave. This Orange Cassidy looks a little weird on the proportions, maybe a little short in the torso. There's something a little bit off for me on that one. I'd have to see it in hand, though, to give final judgment. We saw Sting. You know I'm a little Stinger. You know I'm here for this. I think that one's going to be crazy on the secondary market. I should have bought like 10 of those. I could have funded a vacation or something. But Sting will be looking really good. We saw Tony Storm × 2 and Adam Hangman Page × 2. Of course, the regular Chase editions. Not a huge fan of that, as you guys know, as we've talked about. Hopefully I can track both of those down in the future. We'll see what ends up happening there. And then, of course, to end the wrestling portion of the toy news, we got to check in with our friends from Power Town and Todd McFarlane. You told me you saw Magnum running around there, and you also saw, of course, one Steve Rosenthal, but no Gagne, you said. No Gagne, so we're not sure if Gagne was there. But I did get some footage. I believe it was you or one of your handlers, Todd, that sent me that footage. But it was one Steve Rosenthal who had a room there in Toy Fair off to the side, and he was trying to talk to a few investors about possibly, buying some of the Power Town product. Might as well roll that tape. How about? Sources to say, a lot of people came out of that meeting saying, I don't understand a word this Steve guy's talking about. So more Power Town news coming this Saturday. Ever confusing saga, especially for our wallets, as we know. More on Saturday on the Toy News on Power Town. But now we dive over to Mattel once again. We dive over, cover your ears, Todd McFarlane, to the DC line over there, as we did see the kids line on full display. Very cool that somebody put some WWE main event figures, elite figures right next to these DC ones, so you can kind of see the scale. They truly look like they'll scale perfectly with Marvel Legends. Now, I'm trying not to get too excited about these ones, and I'm saying, okay, maybe I'll grab one to see what it's like, but this is going to be the past line. It's the kids line. I got a lot of DC in my collection. I don't need all of these, but they did put it out there. Hey, coming January 2027, the collector's edition line. And you got to think those are going to be just absolutely crazy. I'm hoping they're the same scale. They look the same as these. You never know. They could be the Masterverse style figures. We'll find out, I guess. Probably San Diego Comic-Con, maybe. You would have to think they'll give us a heads up before 2027, but those are coming down the line. But a lot of people excited for these kitty line ones, and you can only imagine if they're that excited about the kitty ones, how excited people are going to be for the collector's ones. So much more on that as the world turns in the DC universe between Mattel and our good friend Todd McFarlane. It's going to be an interesting 2027, Todd. Kyle Peterson 2.0, what are we going to do without all those McFarlane videos all the time? We'll just have to see what ends up happening in the future. So much more to come. The world's hanging in the balance, as we do know. But that's some of that. We also saw Mattel showing off Masters of the Universe. We've talked about them a lot the last couple of weeks on the channel. Getting more images of some of the stuff out there. A lot going to be coming around that movie. A lot of Masters stuff in 2026. It's going to be a pivotal year for Masters of the Universe, because if the movie takes off, it's going to take off for all the other properties. That's what Mattel is hoping. And we'll see where that goes. It could be a new reign of He-Man here. We talk about Marvel and DC movies all the time. Maybe we'll get He-Man up in that same breath where it's like, oh, there's a new He-Man movie this year. There's a new McFarlane DC movie. I got McFarlane on the brain, but there's a new DC movie this year. We'll see where that all ends up going. So much more on that as we get closer to launch for the figures and the movie, as you can imagine. How about a little bit of miscellaneous toy news this week? Trick or Treat Studios, a company we talk about a little bit. They got so much product, and I really enjoy the properties they're putting out between House of Thousand Corpses and, of course, Leatherface stuff, RoboCop stuff, Hellraiser. All the properties I love, just not necessarily the scale I love. So it's holding me back from purchasing some of this stuff. I've been dabbling a little bit, but they're going out all guns blazing this year at Toy Fair, and they showed off a full-size Leprechaun, Warwick Davis Leprechaun. I feel like I need this in my house somewhere. I think it's going to be around $500, and I think I read they're going to do like a Kickstarter for that. So it's going to be interesting to see if that funds. Obviously, Leprechaun, a very famous movie for kids of the 90s. Outside of that, though, a little forgotten in some instances. I feel as far as small characters in horror movies, people think of the Saw guy on the trike a little bit more. They think of Chucky, obviously. The Leprechaun kind of gets forgotten about, and it's really a shame we haven't got like a NECA Leprechaun and things like that. Hopefully one of these days. But this is a cool property. It's just not thought of in the way of Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger, etc. But still a moment in time and still a very cool idea. We'll see how that sells for them. We also saw they're going to have the Scream Greats Hellraiser line. If my dad wasn't getting out of action figure collecting, he would be all in on this one. My dad, for whatever reason, he likes his classic Universal Monsters horror, and then he loves himself a little Pinhead. He loves himself a little Hellraiser, which I always found to be very interesting. But I'm guessing he's not going to pull the trigger on those. We also saw Premium DNA back in business here, and we've talked about Power Town shenanigans all the time. We've referenced the Premium DNA many a times, the former Megalopolis, a lot of issues with them over the years, and a lot of people saying, hey, steer clear of them. And for me, there's no properties I want, so I have out of sight, out of mind. Maybe you guys are a lot that way. But they came in pretty hot with one of my absolute favorite video games of all time, Contra figures. Contra figures, you always thought it was Schwarzenegger from Predator, Rambo, Sylvester Stallone coming together to take on stuff. That's how my little kid brain always imagined things. But I played Contra from Contra 1 on NES all the way up to, way into my college years I played Contra until I gave up video gaming. But I love the Contra games, loved all of them. I probably played 10 different ones or whatever it has been. Absolutely love it. So this is a property I would love to have on my shelf. I'm not doing any pre-order shenanigans with this. I'll wait, and if I see it at a toy show, I see it at our good friend Jay's maybe in the future, I'll pick it up. And I'm not getting any pre-order stuff here. It's kind of like Power Town. You don't want to be involved in these things ever again. we'll see where that ends up going, but interesting to see. And then possibly the most exciting toy news announcement of Toy Fair 2026. This one came out of left field, and in spoiler alert, this one has ruined a video I had coming to the channel here in a couple of weeks that I was working on, as I was going to do a video of the top 5 most wanted toy lines, and this one was right there in the list for me at a strong number 3. I've been wanting an action figure of this character for a heck of a long time. It's a deep cut. Once again, we go back to my childhood in the 90s. It is Denver the Last Dinosaur, one of the greatest theme songs of all time. And many longtime viewers of the channel may remember good friend of the channel, Jeff George. He also got his start in Denver the Last Dinosaur, of course, playing one of the main characters. So there's a lot of love around Denver, around this household, and I got to get that one. It's coming to us from Bulls Air, who are primarily known, for me at least, for making sneakers of a lot of properties, but I guess they're getting into the action figure game with a few properties. But the one I care about is Denver the Last Dinosaur. This is a must-have for me. Absolutely loved that cartoon, and like I said, loved the theme song as well. I remember watching that in the 90s. I think it only lasted like one season, but it was great. And you had that bad guy character that like had the voice of Rodney Dangerfield, but wasn't really Rodney Dangerfield. An all-timer. If you don't know Denver the Last Dinosaur, man, check it out. You're missing out on some gold. So very excited to get that one in the collection. Cannot wait. But now we move over to NECA Toys, and NECA came out swinging at this one. It's been fairly quiet the last 6 months or so from NECA. We've had releases, but man, they went full guns blazing here, a peek to the future, and they got a lot of fun stuff. And outside of course, Denver the Last Dinosaur, another figure I had on my list coming in at number 5. I'm going to have to redo that list, so look forward to that here in the next couple of weeks. Maybe that'll delay it a couple of weeks. But one of the lines I've wanted for a long time, and we've had lines in the past, but nothing too exciting. I did get a Scrooge McDuck once upon a time from, I think it was Jakks maybe. I have it mixed in as an Easter egg with my turtle collection. But it is NECA Ultimates DuckTales. Woo-oo, which I think you have to say, Todd McFarlane, legally after you say DuckTales. But I love DuckTales, and I could tell you, I would say DuckTales is the best animation Disney ever did. I don't think anything else even comes close. I don't care about any of your cartoon Disney movies. I was a kid that hated Disney. I didn't like any Disney properties, but DuckTales stole my heart and never let go. And now we're getting some amazing action figures from NECA. Very cool that Huey, Dewey, and Louie come with each main character, so you get a little guy as kind of an accessory figure with them. I think that's pretty fun. We're getting Gizmo Duck. We're getting Launchpad McQuack and All-Timer. And then, of course, Uncle Scrooge, we got him coming with Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Must-have pickups across the board. Like I said, the only property from Disney I ever really, really loved. Gargoyles, I guess, is kind of, that's a more modern take for me. I didn't really enjoy Gargoyles as a kid. I enjoy it much more lately when the NECA figures came out, watching it and stuff. So Gargoyles, I'll give a pass on. But Snow White, all that kind of stuff, get it out of here. Not for me. Not for me. But DuckTales, woo, I'm here for that. And then the hits keep on coming back to my childhood. We're going back to McDonald's for the McDonald's game from NECA. Oh my gosh. Playing all the hits right here. A simpler time when McDonald's was cool as the other side of the pillow. That's what it was. Loved McDonald's back then. I remember those cookies you used to get with these characters on them. Used to get your chicken nuggets. Of course, that's what little Kyle was eating like crazy. Just love that time for McDonald's. You'd have commercials with all these characters, and now they're kind of forgotten in a lot of ways. But it looks like we got a big Grimace coming, which makes a lot of sense. You got Ronald, which should be like, maybe they'll reuse the Terrifier Art the Clown body for Ronald. We'll see what happens with that. And then it looks like Hamburglar, for instance. It looks like the Ben Cooper Kids mold, if I'm not mistaken. So going to be an interesting set, but once again, one of those great nostalgic sets here. If you grew up with that time and going to play place at McDonald's and stuff, it was a magical, magical time when I was a kid. Very excited to see those there. And in the same breath, for a lot of people, the Sesame Street Muppet line's continuing. Muppet, we saw Miss Piggy, we saw Gonzo. I'm not sure what exactly is going on with these. They're going to be like 2-packs, 3-packs. They look limited articulation from the pictures. I guess we'll know more in the future. But a lot of people love the Muppet Show. I'm going to check out on Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, whatever it is these days. I'm going to check out that new Muppet Show because my girl Sabrina there, you know about my history with Sabrina. We go back a long way when she was a kid. So I got to support Sabrina and stuff she does. Maybe not the biggest fan of her music, but I got to support her. It's a family thing, Todd. It's a family thing. But Sabrina was in that episode, apparently, so I better check that one out. We also saw Grover, Oscar the Grouch, and Big Bird, and we kind of knew those guys were coming. But that Sesame Street line, once again, hated Sesame Street as a kid, but this is very nostalgic. Anybody that's been in pop culture or around anything, very cool looking figures here. And so far they've been killing it with that Sesame Street line from NECA. We also saw another favorite. We're playing all the hits, like I said, from my childhood watching cartoon and TV days. Never forget Saturday mornings watching Pee-wee Playhouse, and we got Pee-wee coming back again with another Ultimate Edition. We got some of his friends like Globey and stuff like that. Different heads for this one. Going to be cool. Everybody that likes Pee-wee are probably going to want to pick this one up as well. So another Pee-wee coming. We also saw we go from some that I absolutely love to something I know nothing about outside of the character. It is Scream Ghostface. We've had a lot of those from NECA. We got a new one with multiple heads coming. I have never seen a Scream movie. I'm a horror guy. I love a horror guy. I just watched the movie Burial Grounds the other night. It's been on my list for like a decade. I am so glad I watched it. It's a horrible movie, but it's worth checking out. Now, Scream's got like 7 movies. That's just too over the top for me. That's too much. That's too much of a commitment for me, but maybe not you. And if you want that, it is coming around the corner. We also saw Santa Art the Clown, going to be perfect for probably the Terrifier 4 release date later this year. So we got, they're going to milk Art the Clown for all it's worth. I would do the same thing if I was NECA. We also saw more Ben Cooper kids. Get them off my lawn, but this time we're dressing up as Star Trek characters. Why wouldn't you? You need a Klingon, you need Kirk, you need Spock. Heavy hitters right there. That's going to be one of those things that gets people that aren't necessarily Ben Cooper collectors, Star Trek fans, going to want representation of that. We also saw Mars Attacks. Love me some Mars Attacks. Very long history for me in Mars Attacks. Maybe we'll tell that in the unboxing, Todd McFarlane. I've told you that story off the record, but maybe I'll put it on the record for everybody. We also saw Captain Action. I believe I've heard of that, but that's a deep, deep cut there. But that is going to be a new wave of Ben Cooper kids if you want to grab those. Looking pretty cool. And just last night, conveniently enough, I finally watched on Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever it is. I'm not even sure at this point. I got too many streaming things. We need to rein that in. The family's out of control. They don't pay the bill. That's why. But I did see Predator Badlands last night. And I got to say, everybody was saying it was the greatest thing ever. I didn't think it was very good. I didn't like the look of the Predator. I didn't like how he was like communicating with that robot girl, the half-body robot girl. The family thing, I don't want to spoil the movie, but I wasn't feeling it. Maybe I need to rewatch it. I don't know, but it wasn't the Predators I love of the past. Like I enjoyed Prey. I thought that was pretty good. This one didn't connect with me. I didn't take that Predator seriously. It wasn't like Predator 1 that killed Ventura. We know when Ventura got killed. That was a Predator I took seriously. I said, whoa, this guy, if he can kill Jesse the Body Ventura, this is a guy you don't want to mess with. I didn't get that feeling from this one in this Predator movie. But I think they set it up for a sequel with he's going to fight his mom. What are we doing here? He's got mommy issues and definitely had daddy issues in the first movie as well. But we're getting Predator Badland figures, so if you're into the Predator game, you'll probably want to pick those ones up. We also saw Jason Voorhees and really dancing around the IPs. We saw a lot of those, but they're making them game at Jason Voorhees to scoot around the movie stuff. Same thing, different way to get there is how it feels to me. I'll pick those ones up as well. Looks pretty good in all those things. We also saw Jason's mom diorama, which you talked on the Toy News on Saturday, so check that out as well. We also saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles going crazy this week here. Fortnite Ninja Turtles, I don't know anything about Fortnite really outside of the action figures Jazwares made, but I guess these are how they look in the Fortnite game. I don't see myself picking these ones up. I don't know. I like to have representation of a lot of different turtles, but this is so far from my knowledge. I don't know if I can do this one, but we'll see what happens. But speaking of turtles that are far from my knowledge, we got the 2012 Turtles, which I picked up Shredder and the 4 Turtles. I said, I'm good with that. But now we got a lot more stuff coming. We got Ultimate Casey Jones. We got Slash coming to that line, Metalhead, and Splinter. So if you love your 2012 Turtles, some heavy hitters coming your way. I don't think I'm going to do that. I just don't think I'm going to do those figures. We also saw NECA. These are the ones I'm going to do. Leatherhead from the Archie comics. I got to pick that one up. No doubt there. And then we got new Turtles in Disguise, 4 different ones. Not sure if that's going to be a 4-pack or 2-packs. They didn't really say. I guess my money would be on 2-packs, but you never know. They like to put a 4-pack out about once a year, so maybe that'll be the case. Now, it was interesting. I didn't see anything from The Last Ronin. Are they slowing back, cutting back on Last Ronin? It feels like it's been very Last Ronin heavy, especially lately. I got like 10 unboxings to do from Last Ronin. So we'll see where that ends up going. Maybe more on that at San Diego Comic-Con. Not exactly sure, but a lot of turtle stuff talked about, shown at Toy Fair 2026. But we're not done because, as you guys know, as Jerry Reed always says, and now we right, turning our attention over to our friend Todd McFarlane from the couch. Todd, coming in extra hot. And Todd, you sent me a little message, and it took 2 sends. You had to send it via Wi-Fi. It wouldn't go up on cell. I don't know what was going on. But Todd did send us a little video clip of a little announcement he wanted to tell us about.
Hey everybody, Todd McFarlane here. Big news. We've partnered up with Entertainment Earth, and guess what? Coming in later in the summer of 2026 here, we're going to be doing Superpowers are coming back, action figures, and they're going to be only exclusive at Entertainment Earth. Go look for them. We're excited. They're coming back. Go to them, buy them, look for it.
So it looks like the Superpowers line, Entertainment Earth exclusive coming here. Very interesting that line died and now it's back. Going to be interesting to see where Todd goes with DC stuff, because when Mattel takes over, he's trying to work the angles to be involved in some certain things. Is this one of the lines that he might be allowed to do from DC and Warner Brothers, and maybe it's an Entertainment Earth thing? We'll see. We'll see where that goes. But we also saw some more stuff from Todd McFarlane. We saw Brandon Routh Superman. And of course, Brandon Routh, right down the street from me, grew up right down the street. Him and Jason Momoa, we're the triangle of madness is what we are here. But all guys and neighbors basically. But we are getting his version of Superman. And if I'm not mistaken, that looks like good reuse of the Christopher Reeve body, if I'm not mistaken. So we got that coming. We also saw theatrical Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker. We already got this, didn't we? Or is this a re-release? And that's kind of what I've said, Todd. I've said there's going to be a lot of re-releases. And I did see Todd put some quotes out there. You might have just told me from the couch. It gets confusing in time or two. But basically, we've almost seen everything from McFarlane DC. It's coming to the end. I don't know if there's going to be that many more surprises left for us to see. So going to be interested to see where it goes as we finish off 2026. We did see Elite figures from McFarlane Toys. We saw Shadowhawk and one of my all-time favorites. I'll never forget, I read Savage Dragon issue 1 through like 50. I was all in. I had the toys. I loved the cartoon. So this is playing a lot of hits here for me. I can't wait to get this Savage Dragon in my collection. Big, bad, nationwide, and green as he ever has been. So I will be picking that figure up. There's no doubt in my mind. We also saw Super Friends. We got Lex Luthor with Robe. How about that? We got Black Manta. We got Batman and Robin. I think, didn't we already get Batman? Am I mistaken on that? And then we got Aquaman, the evil Aquaman with an eye patch. So you know he's extra evil. So we got those ones coming, the next set from the Super Friends. I'm really hoping the Super Friends line can continue. We'll see where that ends up going to in the future. And then we saw some more of Todd's starting lineup Sport Pick style figures here, the articulated basketball players from the NBA this go around. I'm hoping we get a Detlef Schrempf, we get a Larry Bird, maybe a Christian Laettner. Can we get the big chief, Robert Parrish, Todd McFarlane? And it looks to be all no superstars I don't know about. So I don't know the new NBA talent. I don't follow the NBA anymore. But man, oh man, I think Todd would be printing money if he could put the legends out there. And there must be some reason that doesn't happen or doesn't work, because I feel like you would make a lot more money off the legends than the modern day talent. You'll always sell some modern stuff, but I think there's a lot of people that would want a Larry Bird figure or a John Stockton possibly, or maybe that dangerous Mark Eaton. Could they want Mark Eaton? Maybe Dikembe Mutombo. That would be a good one to get in the collection maybe. I don't know. There's a lot. Horace Grant, you're exactly right. And Todd, you got the power to control this. Maybe we'll get that going. Can we get a Mitch Richmond? Maybe a Chris Mullen if we're lucky enough? How about a mailman Karl Malone or a Dennis Rodman or a Scottie Pippen? There's a lot of talent out there we could get. Yes, Bill Cartwright's another great one. We could get Bill Cartwright. Could we get a Kevin Garnett maybe? That would be a fun one too. Sean Kemp. Why not Sean Kemp? What do you got against Sean Kemp? Let's get Sean Kemp in the mix here. Can we get Danny Ainge? How about Dan Marley? Thunder Dan Marley, can we get him? That'd be great to have in the collection. Shaq, of course, Shaq Diesel, I'd take him. Alonzo Mourning while we're at it. Let's get Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues in the line, Todd McFarlane. There's so many guys we could get that I would not be opposed to. Yes, Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler. Let's get them all. Let's get the whole team. Let's wheel them all in. Let's get action figures, all these guys. I am here for it. I could go all day. Should we list some more? Let's stop. We've done enough. But we do got these coming. Exciting. We'll see where they go. But being Todd, he's going to put his best foot forward. He always does. And that does conclude episode 3 of Toy Fair 2026. Like I said, anything else we missed, there's a few other things. We'll talk some Godzilla Playmates. We'll talk more He-Man. We got some more NECA stuff to talk about, but I'm going to leave that all for Saturday. Got to have some news for Saturday, so we'll leave that there. But I'd be interested to hear what you were excited for. What are you looking for here? What are you hoping to see? come to fruition from all this stuff at Toy Fair. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. You made it this far, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you on Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, your best way to support the channel and all the content it does bring. And you know there's plenty of content to keep you busy. Appreciate all the support over there. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com, which is also the name of my podcast, Kyle Peterson Show, available every single Tuesday like today. Of course, today being a Tuesday when this video drops. So check out the podcast, give it a like, a follow, all that kind of fun stuff. Check it out if you haven't already. So for Toy News 2026 Toy Fair Edition Part 3, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
Come on to my